Hello, welcome to my studio. I'm Julie Torrens. So we worked on these two watercolors to get ready to make some ephemera. And so then after I said goodbye to you guys, I went and made two more, but I utilized the exact same techniques as we used here. So what I wanted to show you is what is the next step. So what do I have? I've got my trimmer. I've got some black Sharpie markers. I've got a variety of punches, and I've got some scissors. So those are the things I'm going to be using today. And I'll start right off with one of the pictures that we did together, and I'm just going to set those aside, and we'll get through as many as we can. But I would just like to show you what my next step is. So we did watercolor here. We did a combination of watercolor, and then I used a little bit of acrylic in this one. And then here again, we used watercolor. Now, I did this one, and so this effect is what I put here. But I really found that there was no advantage to using acrylic paint. So as I move forward, I am going to be just using watercolor, because my metallic watercolor versus the acrylic watercolor, I really don't see a difference, and I don't like mixing my acrylics with my watercolors just because it's not good for the brushes, and it's not good for the paints themselves. All right, so what is my next step on this ephemera? Well, it's going to be outlining. So I've got a variety of these Sharpie markers. And you know, as with any time I use Sharpie markers, will they work? Won't they work? Okay, this one works good. I'm going to start out with using a finer one, and I could always beef it up if I want to. And I'm just going to give a basic outline, but I'm not going to, you know, try to just make it real precision and precise. It's just going to be some outlines. But I think it will help these to really jump off the page. And I think that when we add these to our ephemera and we start using them in our collage work and things like that, I think the black lines will just help it with just a little more punch. But you don't have to do this. You could just cut these out just as they are. So I'm just adding some circles in the center, and I just did some simple outlining. And I'll do the same to this one. And you know, no two petals are the same. Don't worry about that, you know, oh, you know, is this really the right shape? Yes, it is. If you drew it, it's the right shape. And just get, what I'm doing is just another form of mark making. That's all. Now I'm going to put some little circles in here, and then my leaf. And again, I'm trying not to create anything that's difficult to cut out, because not only can it be difficult to cut out, but then it can be difficult to store until you're ready to use them. So that's one way of doing this. And so with this, I would just be cutting this out. And this is a sturdy paper. This is the Strathmore 400, and it is a printer paper, not printer as in your computer printer, but for print making. So I'll go ahead and cut this one out, and that way you can see what it looks like finished. And you can tell me in the meantime, what are you working on? And I don't want to suggest that I never buy ephemera. I do buy ephemera. There are, for one thing, I don't have a printer, so I don't buy digitals. And at this point, I don't see myself buying digitals, but I may. But right now, I like making my own. That's just what's working for me. But I do buy some ephemera. I absolutely do. And as I come across and use it in my work, I will definitely show you what ephemera that I have purchased. There's a lot of interesting and wonderful ephemera, stickers, and you know, like I buy washi tape, things like that. So I mean, there are some things that I buy. And I know there are people that do their own kind of faux washi, and the results are beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I haven't found the necessity to do that yet. I don't use that much washi. I use it more as like a tool, because I use it to tack down watercolor paper onto a surface so that it's, well, get the white line around the edge, and then also to keep the paper from wanting to buckle. So here is a piece of the ephemera, and I can just, for instance, take this. Nothing's easy. Take them both. And see, isn't that pretty? I think it's lovely. And I can just see this on, you know, in a journal or on a greeting card or whatever it is you're doing. But this is just so easy, and it didn't take long. I have the first video. I'll try to remember to link it to the top, but I have the first video of this. So I'll cut this one out later, but I just wanted you to see what a finished flower. I'm going to go back to this. And another way that I'm going to use this ephemera. So I'm going to take my scissors. You know, I think I'm going to take my trimmer. I'm going to take my trimmer. And I'm not measuring, but I just want a somewhat straight line here. So let's have that. Will I save this? Yeah. I can think right now of some ways that I would use that. So now I don't want to cut into some of the other ephemera on this page. This one is going to go. It's mostly just the paper. This one, I think it'll be fine, even though I am leaving more white than I have. So let's work with this. So what I like to do with this is punches. So I don't know if this punch, it should fit. Let's see. Now, what I like to do in this situation is open the back and then take a look. It will not fit. So the demonstration on the top is not the size of the punch itself. That's all right. How about this circle? This is a 2-inch circle. And let's see if we can do this one. And the answer is yes. So I'm going to go ahead, and now I want to get as many as I can. So I'm just lining it up with the hopes that I can utilize as much of this as possible. And there. Isn't that pretty? I think I'm going to do all 3 of these in circles. And there. So that's going to go in my ephemera piece. And I think that's cool. Now what I'm going to do, I don't want to save this whole thing like it is. I'm just going to cut this part, and then I'm going to save this strip. But these real little guys, I know there's people that would save them, but like I've said, I don't have space. I cannot have tubs and tubs of this kind of stuff saved aside. But a couple of these strips I think will be fine. These are going out. So we've got the flowers, and we've got these. I was looking for, where did I set that? Oh, right here. So picture this, if you can. And let's go with the pink one. So if this is a background, isn't that pretty? Gorgeous. I love it. And I love the fact that although it's my ephemera that I made, it's different from the other ephemeras that you and I have made before. All right, now that leaves us with these. So what do I do with these? Well, I'm going to show you. I'm going to get my trimmer again. And And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off this rectangle. I'm just going to cut it right off. And then I'm going to see if I can trim these up. And this edge is not straight. I could use this edge as the original edge, so that is straight. So can I cut these? I think so. I'm going for it. I took a little bit off of the one pink one, but that's okay. So now, am I on a straight edge? What I want to do is I want to make these fairly square because I want them to be in a geometric shape. So I'm just cutting them on the vertical lines this way. And I am spending a little time lining them up. Can you even see? I'm sorry. I hope you were able to see some of that. That one did not go straight at all. We're just going to work with it. All right. So now I'm going to, again, oh, this is tough. I've got to really hang on to it. Whoop. I'm going to bring it in just a little. Oh, okay, well, I'm just going to have to depend on my scissors. And, you know, maybe I just simply need a new blade. There's no telling. That edge is good. Because I do want these as square as I can get them. And then what I'm going to do, now, you've got to pick a side. I'm going to pick the side closest to me. And then get these corners and see if we can do that. It's almost too small. We're going to give it a try. Is it tucked in there? Let's give it a go. Okay, well, it didn't really come out the way I had hoped, but that's okay. I'm just going to kind of round it out myself. This corner doesn't look round to me at all. Okay, so, and I want to make all of these little squares, and I'm just going to cut them with my scissors. There's nothing wrong with kind of freehand and all that, but sometimes if I can create something that's a little more geometric, it's just a different aesthetic, you know, but no right or wrong. And again, I always say, you know, no rules. All right, there's another square. Let's see if we can just cut these up real quick so you can get a little better idea. And I can just make some that are just square. They don't have to have rounded corners. This is a nice hardy paper. So if I was putting these on a background, you know, maybe something like this with this, and then this. Isn't that pretty? I like it. I hope you think it's pretty. So we've got those. Now I've got this guy. Remember this one? And I'm not even going to try on the trimmer. I'm just going to try to be as straight as I can. And again, another piece of ephemera. Now these three. So what I had in mind for these three was my oval punch, because that's fun to use. Okay, let's try this way. That's better, much better. And bingo. And I should be able to get this one. And there. And now, so that I can get my punch into here. Now, maybe you have a die cut machine with a lot more choices than I have. And, you know, again, use what you have. But a lot of us have punches. I don't have a lot of punches, but I have them primarily for just what you're seeing, to create ephemera. I'm just trying to get this off of my desk before it ends up all over the floor. Okay. All right, let's take a look. So we've got this guy, these, and this one, and here, and a beautiful flower, and a couple more of these. So there's my first little bunch of ephemera, and I like it. I really do. I'm not just saying it. I do like it. All right, let's get these off and to the side. And I still have one more flower like that to cut out. So let's see about this one. Now, again, I use the same techniques that you saw me use, but I just made the flowers a little bit smaller, and then I made some leaves. These I did put the leaves on, but let's just give these a go and just see if we can, you know, kind of punch them up a little bit. I am not worried about precision at all. I think I'm just going to give this one a few lines, and then some of these. And now the leaves. And there. Same with this one. Get the center. And I'm skipping a petal because then it makes this petal look a little behind. Do you see what I mean? So this one, I'm going all the way to the center, but then this one doesn't because it's a little bit behind the flower, which I just think gives it a little dimension. Same with the leaves. I'm going to do one leaf and have it go all the way to the flower, but then this one is attached to the leaf. And just a few little veins. I think these look sweet. One more. Circle with some lines. Now I'm taking this petal all the way to the center. I'm skipping a petal. I'm taking this petal all the way to the center. And now this one stops at the petal. I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to make this one all the way to the center. But then this one, no. And this one, not all the way. And now just some little fold lines. And then make a leaf. And another leaf. Look at that one, went way out. It's all right. But what I am going to do is stretch there, like a vein over the white part. And then it kind of looks like a shimmer or a shine. And then we've got this leaf. Let's not forget him. There. Okay. And I would do the same with these. Now the leaf, I do put a little stem, but when I cut it out, I'll cut it out a little bit wider. And then when I go to use it, I'll trim it up so that that little stem doesn't want to fall off. And that's all I'm going to do for these leaves. And now this, again, I'm going to use some punches. So let's see what we can do with this. So I'm going to go ahead, take out the red ones. And you can just see the difference if you compare the red ones with the black lines to the yellow ones without the black lines. I do think that that is a benefit to the whole piece of ephemera. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this one out just so you can see one of them. And it's not that I'm not willing to do this cutting out on my own. It's just that I wanted you to see the whole process. And I, don't know how to do that if I have everything all chopped up and in little pieces. The first flowers, which was the first one that I cut out and I made with you, well, those are great, but they felt a little large. And although I want some large, I also wanted to make some small. So when I was making the second and third sheet of ephemera, just like I wanted to do the same but change the color, well, I wanted to do the same but just make them a little bit smaller. And then I decided that some of them have leaves attached, but then some of them don't. And I can add the leaves in whatever way I want. Just whatever will fit on whatever I'm doing. This paper is a pleasure to cut because it's just, I don't know, it just feels rich. It feels as heavy as a cardstock, but it has that, I don't know, like that cottony fabric feel. And I like that. Now I will definitely be using, I believe, art glitter glue or another strong PVA. I do not, I'm sure I will not use glue stick to glue these down because the paper will just absorb it, because this is a very absorbent paper. And I think the things would have a more of a tendency to want to fall off once the glue stick dries. I don't think it would be good to keep. Okay, so here is, isn't that pretty? I think it looks great. All right, we'll put that up there for right now. So you understand how these would look. I cut those out. These flowers, these are a little different, not a whole lot different, but I'll go ahead and put some of the black lines in these. So this one has a round center, and then I'm going to do the darker leaves going all the way to the center. Or I should say petals, not leaves. But you knew what I meant. And again, when you're doing these, keep in mind cutting them out, because I purposely don't have places where I'm cutting it out and a petal is only hooked to the center, because again, that would be so flimsy. Now you can do it if you have a different sort of a place to store them, or you can do it if you're going to be using it right away. Sure, why not? Just cut as you need them, just like, people have entire pages of ephemera, but they just leave it in the pages until right before they're ready to use it. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing at all. I guess I'm just a little too spontaneous. I want to be able to grab and go. But there is no right or wrong. So didn't that just perk that up compared to these two? And that leaf perked up compared to these leaves? Sure. And then those will just get cut out like the others. And you'll be seeing these because as we work on other projects together in art journaling, I will definitely be using this ephemera. I mean, this is my ephemera. So I'm just cutting this out right along where the watercolor ended. There's a little bit that kind of is larger than the rest, but I went ahead and cut that off because we're going to be using some punches, and I want the punches to be able to get in too. Okay, now, is this big enough for my 3.5-inch circle? Maybe not. Let's see. Because this paper is a little bit curled, you kind of have to ease it in a bit. Can we get one out of there? No, and that's all right. We've got full sheets that we're going to be doing. Okay, so let's do another circle. And this is a 2.5 inch. And there. And there. Won't fit where? Won't fit there. So let's try the oval. Yep. And there's our oval. Now, another thing you can do, and this is one of the reasons why I saved this, not only to just glue as a sheet, but I'm reaching for something that fell out of its little toolbox. This. Now, I know, and I normally punch these out when I'm going to empty this. I normally would punch these out as I need it. And I'm just there. I just emptied the punch out. So, but you can go ahead and do punches in this. And then add them to your ephemera. Or you can add it to a shaker card. Something like that. But look. And I mean, I realize that they're awful tiny. That's why I normally would do this at the time that I'm needing it. But that's why I'm going to save this, just like I saved those other pieces. But when it's even too small to do that, well, away it goes. So will I be able to save those? Unknown. I'll throw them in the little container. All right, now we've got these. So for these, I'm hoping I can use my trimmer because I would like to make some squares. And you can buy square punches. I just don't happen to have any. But let's see if we can square this up a bit. I will save that. So much on my desk. Oh no. Oh no. When that comes off, sometimes it's a stinker to get back on. Well, we'll try. We'll try. See, it goes back on, but it doesn't want to slide. I'll give it one more try, and if not, we're going with scissors. Let me get this out of here before I poke a hole in it. Okay, I will get it fixed, just not now. Scissors we go, no problem. Always a workaround. Now I will make this just as straight as I can. But this is a straight line because of the washi tape that we had on the edge of this. Didn't it come out nice though? When it dried, it changed a little bit, but I just think it came out so pretty. And you could just use this as a background. This could be, you know, layered in one of your, again, one of your cards or on any kind of a background. I do think it's really pretty. Okay, so how am I going to make straight lines? Well, I'm going to use a ruler. Now, I've got this one. It's a little short, but it does have a nice, long, straight edge here that I can line straight line to straight line. Okay, so let's not color on that side. And I'm just going to kind of go for the middle. I don't have a specific task in mind for this, so it doesn't have to be particular. And let's just straighten this out like that. And I'm going to go ahead and again try to go for right in half. And I even have this line that I can match up to the line. Again, to just try to be straight about things. And I'm just going in what I think is about half. And you might say, oh, these aren't squares, these are rectangles. That's all right. Just something other than circles or ovals, you know, variety. That's what I'm going for. Okay, and now this can go away, and I'm going to cut this guy out. So today is Independence Day 2022, and what's nice about making a video today, besides the fact that I get to be with you, is that no lawn cutters, no painters, so I don't have people knocking on my patio door. All of those things are always possible, aren't they? But today is a little less of a chance. Okay, so you can just leave these as they are. I think they're cool if you use a corner punch, and I've got 2 corner punches. So you also will find that not having to glue down those pointy corners. Look at that. Look at that. See? Isn't that just beautiful? And you know, we can get one of these, sprinkle some of those, and put one of these, and then put one of these, and then maybe a couple more, and then one of these. Look, I mean, isn't that pretty? Tell me you think it's pretty. You always say the nicest things. I like it. I really do. I'm smiling. I'm happy. Okay, so let's finish up these. Now I also have a deeper square punch, corner punch. So set it in there really good. And look, so this is with less of a less deep corner punch and with a more deep corner punch. It's a totally different look, isn't it? Let's do another one. And you can see, if I wasn't doing a video, which I love doing the videos, don't get me wrong, but it would go faster. It would definitely go faster. So when you're doing these, you're not going to be having some of the stalls that I've had. Okay, let's take a look at this. I feel like I'm dealing cards. And there. Isn't that nice? And then we can add this. And there. I mean, this is stunning to me. Absolutely stunning. So, this I'm going to leave because I can use this in other ways other than making the squares. I'll finish cutting these out. Maybe I'll use that pink one for one of those really big punches. But I'm liking these squares or rectangles or whatever they are. I just think they're beautiful. And I think that you will find a lot of uses for this. Decorating an envelope, just all kinds of things. Look at that. This corner did not come out quite right. Let's try it again. There we go. There we go. Look at that. And let's try the little one for this. So does this seem like something that you are going to give a try? I hope so. Again, I will put the video part 1. I'll link that to this. And I'm going to be posting the 2 videos together. So you're not going to have part 1 without being able to go straight to part 2. Even though I had these dry overnight. You don't have to have them dry overnight, but they do need to be good and dry before you start cutting them. I think that's real beneficial to have them good and dry, because otherwise you do have a better chance of the black markers trying to bleed. Now, maybe that's a look you want, and that's, you know, totally fine. There. Okay, so I hope that you found this beneficial. I hope that you found it helpful. Please consider liking and subscribing because it does help my channel so much. Please consider sending this video to your friends, and I will look for you in my next video. Bye.